welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. Today I want to talk a little bit about your inner voice and the inner voice being very harsh and critical. Um, and also, noticing the harsh critique of others, especially those most like you. There's a lot of times, there's a lot of things that can be projected onto you from other women. Oh, I don't have my earpiece. Okay. Hopefully, let me know if you can hear. Hopefully you can hear. I thought I had my earpiece in, but I didn't. Um, what I was saying is that I want to talk about your inner voice, and I'm also doing my nails at the same time. I want to talk about your own inner voice and how uh positive or negative or what do you tend to skew towards whenever you're dealing with your inner voice. And you can also notice this about other people, and especially people most like you, because a lot of times people most like you will kind of project the way they deal with themselves. And like the way they talk to you has a lot to do with the way they talk to themselves. And the way that they treat you has a lot to do with the way that they treat themselves. And it has a lot to do with how they feel about themselves. It really does. So I have been working with Black women for over 10 years, far beyond this YouTube channel. Okay. I have worked with Black women from all walks of life. One thing that I can tell you is a theme in my work over the years is an extremely critical inner voice that Black women have towards themselves. And if I had $1 for every time I told you that I told a woman, you are, you're really hard on yourself. Or if I ask a woman, or women will tell me, well, I'm harder on myself than anybody else. They'll say stuff like that. They say stuff like that all the time. And when it comes to implementing change in your life, when it comes to embracing what is best for you, when it comes to reconciling things in the past that have happened, when it comes to, charting what it is that you would like to achieve for yourself, what you would like to heal in yourself, and how you deal with others around you, a lot of it has to do with that inner voice that you have. Um, Lots and lots and lots of Black women, and I think in just dysfunctional households in general, shame is a prevalent tactic to um, to people. So it's like a lot of times, if you think about your girl self, you really didn't get the tools that you needed to succeed at various things that you needed to do. Whether it have been schoolwork, whether it have been making friends, coming into puberty, navigating early relationships. Oh, this boy likes me, that boy likes me, or it's like, especially when it comes to adolescent sexuality and kind of getting into that, like most people were just shamed about all of that. You're shamed for liking somebody, you're shamed for dating, you're shamed for um, even if someone was inappropriate with you. A lot of times, especially as a girl child, you're shamed for those kinds of things. And so a lot of times, your parents' voice and the adults around you are the very first voice that you hear. And a lot of times, people's inner voice, especially their inner, you internalize that and you begin to relate to yourself the way she relates to you. And you begin to relate to people around you So you can correct it lovely. You don't know how to correct and have the ability to extend grace to yourself. If you have the ability to learn a new skill or course correct or make a change, if you have the ability to do that for yourself, then you have the ability to do that for others. And if you find yourself constantly being harsh, judgmental, and critical towards others, I feel like that is a reflection, or it could be look and see what's going on, see what's going on. And reparenting, I definitely am, and I don't know. I guess that's just who I am. I guess that's just who I am. It's just learning about myself and knowing that I have a lot of that energy. I have a lot of um, where it's like, okay, whip into shape, all right, get it done, that kind of a thing. Being a single boy is like, okay, it's time to do this now. It's time to get up. It's time to do homework. It's time to brush your teeth. And they'll just ignore the crap out of you until you're like, it's time to brush your teeth. And then they're like, oh, okay, now you mean business now. So it's not to say it's never there, but I hope I told y'all towards yourself, you know, having patience with yourself when you're trying to embrace positive change, having patience with yourself and don't give up on yourself. um Not beating yourself up. So like when you like sort of berate yourself internally about something that you failed on, or something that didn't go the right way, or somebody got over on you, or somebody scammed you, or maybe you're trying to eat better, you're trying to work out, and kind of, I personally believe that embracing yourself, your mind can wander to the answer, your intuition can lead you to the answer, you can get a spiritual download that can lead you to the answer. What do I need to make this possible for myself? What would make it easier for me to um, achieve this, or to embrace this, or whatever it is that you're trying to do? Or sometimes you just need to give yourself a hug. Like, wow, I acknowledge that I'm going through a particularly rough patch. And maybe the answer is you need rest. Sometimes that is the answer. Sometimes that's the answer. I need rest. I need to reset. But ask yourself, what do I need to embrace this change? Or what is it that I need to get to the next step of what I'm doing? And having compassion for yourself about all the limitations and all the things that that you've overcome, um, that could have possibly been preventing you from getting to where you're going. And sometimes when you embrace and understand and just acknowledge what those obstacles are, now you can see them clearly. You can kind of, navigate around them, or, you know, find a way to get over, under, around, through whatever those obstacles are. But to think that you're some kind of machine that's supposed to do everything perfect all the time and get it right every single time, it's a bit unrealistic, and it can be very harsh. Because sometimes if you have that super, super um, negative, and I've talked to lots and lots of women with this particular attitude, it's either all or nothing. Right time, it's everything has to be controlled, you know. It is just very like all the way, and or nothing, and there's literally like no in between. And if they mess up on it the exact way that it had, in their mind, it has to be like this and it has to be that, that perfectionism. Basketball or dance, or do you like working out in a group, or do you like working out by yourself? Do you like working out in a class? What, it's about reverse engineering. How can we get you moving several times a week? That's really what it's about. It's not about working out 7 days a week, and then on the days that you don't do it, you beat yourself up. Like, I failed again. Oh, I can never get this right. Because when you're super harsh with yourself, you start to feel a sense of shame, and shame can be a very uh paralyzing emotion that can make you sulk, and it can make you lose motivation to get going where you need to go. It can make you feel paralyzed as to what the things that you need to do. And when people's knee jerk reaction is to shame others about what they're doing, um, sometimes you don't have the impact on people that you could have if you met them with compassion. Everyone isn't deserving of compassion, but some people are. You just when I feel like I need to, because I will. I will. But if there's anybody in this country that has been dealt with so harshly, and so like they're insignificant, and treated like workhorses, and only treated, there's been so many Black women who've never had really no compassion shown to them at all about their life circumstances. Like, we look at these women, even if you look at some of the sex workers on the stroll, you look at some drug addicts, you look at people who are obese, and I've seen people, I've seen, I've seen families literally overfeeding babies from infancy. And they're doing it because they don't have any nurturing skills. They don't know how to soothe a child without shoving a bottle in their mouth. Little do they know, by overfeeding that child and that toddler and that preschooler, they're setting that child up to struggle with their weight their whole life. Their whole life. So you're meeting somebody, this person is 35, 38, 42. You're meeting them on the tail end of a lifelong journey of stuff. And you think that you're going to be like, eat green vegetables, and they're just going to do it. And if they can't do it in the time frame that you say that they need to do it, oh, that person's stupid. Oh, she's just, I did it. I lost the weight. Why can't you? Oh, you're stupid. You got 3 kids with 3 baby daddies. I'm so smart. I'm so great. I went to college. I ain't got no kids. You're stupid. Meanwhile, this girl been molested as a child. Where were you then? She was told she was never going to be nothing. She was ignored. No one ever helped her with her. You don't know her. You're literally just coming in on the tail end of her life, telling her, oh, I'm so much better than you because look at me. When you don't even know this girl's story. You don't know her story. But if you had compassion in your heart, you would inquire. You'd want to know. You would want to know. Because I really think that compassion is the access point for really creating change. Black women have no shortage of shame throughout their life. You're damn near shamed for being born a Black girl. That in and of itself is a disappointment to many people. Just the fact that you were born a girl child. I was listening to something the other day. Um, I remember it was a story about a sex worker, and I think she had like 3 brothers. And her dad told her, I think her dad killed her mom in front of her. And so she's got that trauma. And I kind of, I relate to her, and I talked about this on when I was a guest on someone else's podcast about, witnessing my biological father, pull the trigger to my mother's head. And it didn't go off. I don't know if it was jammed or if there were no bullets in there. I don't know. Excuse me. But I could have witnessed the same thing that she did, and so her dad let her know all the time that he was sad that she wasn't a boy. And so she doesn't have a mother. She's being forced to live with this parent who took the other parent out. And so now she's abusing drugs and she's a sex worker. There's just so many life circumstances that have led to the situation, that she's in. Where am I going with this? Oh, I know. So what I'm saying is that, even beyond all of the things even beyond all the things that has happened to this woman over the course of her life, just being told that you're not good enough, or that the people who are supposed to love you unconditionally are disappointed with you because you're born a girl, that in and of itself is very impactful, you know. Um, it's promoted in these spaces too. Are you talking about shame divested power ranker? Because if you are, you're absolutely correct. There's so much vitriol directed towards Black women that don't Black women the way they want them to Black women. You know what I mean? There's so much vitriol, and there's just so much harshness, to where there isn't a huge difference between how those women speak about Black women and how the other side, like, they pretty much say the same thing. They pretty much say the same thing. It's like a at like what are the reward systems of that particular group or that particular tribe, like what type of behavior is rewarded, what kind of behavior elicits respect from other group members. And what you'll find in certain spaces is that ridiculing, hurting others, being harsh towards others, like who can be the harshest becomes this contest of who can be the harshest, who can be the most ruthless, who can be the most shocking in their, dealings with others that don't either align with the exact ideology of that group, or they're not, they're in the group, but they're showing some signs of nuance, and like nuance is not allowed, right? Nuance is not allowed. You have to be a hardliner on all of these particular notions, and there's no room for error. There's no room for nuance at all. And that's when it becomes a race, a competition, like the energy is like one upping the other. Like, the only people that get recognized are the ones who are the most harsh and brutal. And so that just like feeds within, it's like a vicious cycle of brutality, verbal brutality against other Black women. There's just no space for nuance. And, those spaces can be incredibly time consuming. And I just wonder, what are the ladies benefiting from this? And I think that's why I'm obviously not a super hardliner, but there's so many women that come over here from that space because they're like, well, yeah, I want to actually get something, I want to get some skills in particular areas. So, I want to break away and, you know, go over somewhere else, to get another perspective, or to just, be able to get some skills because I want to jump out there and I want to do what I say I'm about. I don't want to just talk about it. I want to be about it. I want to actually do these things. Hey, Mocha Mommy. Hey, Sissy Asia. Yeah, the shame. The shame is. I have, even for the ladies who use shame as a primary tactic of dealing with other Black women, I even have compassion for them. I know it's coming from somewhere. I can literally hear their mother inside of them. I can hear their mother inside of them when they're talking about coulda, shoulda, woulda, and what I ain't going and what she best to do and all of that. Like I can literally hear their mother in them. Even the mother that they like despise. Like I can hear it. It's still like that way that you formulate how you relate to others is still heavily informed from that. And, let's talk about faith for a little while. You know, when it comes to why am I still here? Why am I still here? I couldn't answer that question definitively, besides the fact that maybe I still have more work to do on this earth. Because there's so many, I can think about so many close calls that I've had that for whatever reason, I'm still here. I'm still here. I don't know why, if it's grace, because I like to not think that, it's about being favored over someone else. Because if I look at another woman, I feel like she has just as much, she's just as deserving to be living as I am. So how can I say that, oh, God favors me over somebody else? How can I say that? Oh, I'm highly favored. Oh, so what? The woman who passed away, she's not highly favored by God. Why is she gone and I'm still here? Every day I wake up is a blessing. Yeah, I have an opportunity to have another chance at life, and I'm incredibly grateful. There's certain things that happen that are beyond our understanding as humans. There are things about life that's beyond our understanding. So if you overcome situations, you have to submit to the fact that maybe there was some higher power, maybe there was something else that helped you overcome whatever that situation is. Or for whatever reason, you decided, you know what, I'm going to take the back way home. I don't even want to get on the highway. And there was like a 16-car pileup on the highway that you were just about to get on. Just for whatever reason, you didn't get on the highway that. And it's the same with people's life choices. That will help humble you as to why you slept with someone unprotected multiple times. You did not get pregnant. That woman did get pregnant. Now she's a single mother. How are y'all that much different? Or you went and you slept with someone and you took a plan B and she didn't know anything about plan B. And by the time she found out, it was too late for her to get an abortion. But those same women will automatically have all this shame for that other woman. And like I said, you don't know her story. It would help to see the commonality and how, like, if you know about how Black girls are raised and you're such an expert on that, and you know that she's been told since she was born that she ain't worth shit, and you think that you're going to come into her life and tell her further you ain't worth shit, and you think that that's going to have some type of grand impact on her, how? How? You want to put a derogatory spin on baby mama as though like those baby mamas can't share any information. They're already, whatever. They obviously they don't make good choices in their life because look at them. They're raising children and they're not partnered up with one. Like, and it's interesting that like that validation that comes from a man is still male worshiping. It's still male worshiping. If you're saying that a woman doesn't have any value unless she's connected to a man in relations to rearing children, which of course it's, always helps to have four hands on deck rather than two. But at the core of that, very much so, is male worshiping. Because on the other side, they say the same thing too. You're not worth anything if your dad leaves you and no man chooses to marry you. You're not worth anything. And then on this side, they say the same thing. You have less value. There's a difference between promoting behavior and condemning. That you have never heard me say. I think I have 170 videos. I think I have over 170 videos at this point. One thing that you could never say that I said is run out and go have a baby by yourself. You can listen to every 170 plus videos, and I've never said that. I don't promote that. I don't promote that. And then also within 170 videos, you can say that I've never disparaged single mothers. The two can coexist in the same dynamic. And in fact, I've shared a lot of strategies not to end up parenting alone. And in the midst of me sharing the strategy not to end up parenting alone, I have not condemned women parenting alone. How is it possible? It's possible. Now, going back to this notion of why me? Why did this miracle happen to me? Why am I alive? Why did I avoid this? Why did I avoid that? You cannot project your blessing or your divine grace or whatever it is that has you in the situation that you're in. You cannot project that onto another woman or another person. Well, I got out of it, and I've been in that situation. I was that person. And now look at me, and so you have no excuse. Yeah, well, that's a very limited way of thinking. It's very limiting. You can't even explain why you're still alive. You can't even explain how everything mixed up in the way that it is, and you're in the position that you are. All of it you that you can say is that it's a blessing. But some of us have had many. I've had many, and I'm still here. I couldn't tell you why somebody from my same neighborhood. I used to think, I used to think that we were like 18, 19 years old. I used to think what that she said. It stuck with me. Oh, I know. I said I did it by myself. I did it by myself. I did it by myself. And she was like, "No, you didn't." I was like, "Yes, I did. If I, and she was like, "No, you did it." That's how I felt. But once I really started thinking about it, and I started thinking about, I remember, I was in high school and I got introduced to, um, youth NAACP. Once I got into youth NAACP, that was on our university campus in my town. Once I got on the university campus town, I ended up meeting a professor. He used to volunteer at youth NAACP. He told me about a dual college, uh, high school enrollment that I would have never known about. So I ended up getting dual credit while I was in high school for university credit. And the women in the group who wrote me recommendation, because I went to a very racist school, the black women who wrote my letters of recommendation to get me in college, to get me scholarships. I got a scholarship from NAACP, okay, to go to school. I did not do it by myself. I mean, yeah, I was doing it and I felt alone, but honestly, all along the way, there have been people. Maybe they didn't rescue me from my situation, but they showed me love and compassion when I needed it. Another professor writing me, uh, my science teacher wrote me a recommendation to go to this boarding school. I didn't end up getting in, but I think the fact that, he wrote the letter for me when I was receiving other messages from other people that I don't matter, that I'm not that smart, da 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 da. This man wrote me a letter recommendation, my science teacher, to get into this boarding school. It still made a difference that he was willing to do it. He did it enthusiastically. You see what I'm saying? So once I started thinking about, even if it was for 5 minutes, or even if it was just a little compliment, even no matter what it was, I started adding it all up. I started adding up all these things, the accumulation of all these things and all these people. If you add it all up, I have not done it by myself. And the magic sauce of all these random acts of kindness and compassion, that I'm still here today and I've accomplished a lot and I've seen a lot and I've experienced a lot and I'm still here today. That secret sauce is unique to my life. So I would never be able to say, oh, well, you come from the same situation I come in from. You should be able to do it too. Because you don't know, and I don't know. I don't know all of the experiences that that woman has had in her life. And plus, there's an element and we just don't understand that's beyond our understanding. So, therefore, I think that we really have to have an inner voice to ourselves, one of compassion, one of understanding, and to love ourselves into good behavior. Instead of cracking the whip, try to hug yourself into good behavior. Hug yourself and love yourself into positive routines, positive actions, eating healthy, drinking water, exercising, doing things that matter for you, cultivating healthy relationships. Because shame keeps you in stagnation and shame keeps you in a lower level, keeps you in a low vibration because you will end up projecting that out into others. And you end up ruminating and feeling bad. And then after you feel bad, you feel worse about it. And then you don't even want to do it anymore. Because now you feel bad. What's the point? But when you love yourself into positive things, give yourself a hug and get up. Get up as soon as you can. Set a time on feeling bad. If you lost a contract, give yourself, I don't know, as little time that you need. If you can feel bad for 10 minutes, set your timer for 10 minutes, feel bad, feel really, really bad, feel all the things. And then at the 10-minute mark, get up and apply for another contract or whatever it is negative, whatever you need to do, put a frame on it. But beating yourself up for whatever you didn't do or you did wrong or this isn't right or da 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 or oh my childhood wasn't what it needed to be and okay so I'm disadvantaged. At some point I had to like just rewrite my story because that worked for a little while. I actually used the disadvantaged, child of a single mom. I used that for like scholarships and stuff. And then I realized that story really wasn't serving me anymore. you know, you just get to a point where, I realized like this story is hurting me more than it's helping me. So I had to change the script. And so sometimes we just have to look, what is the story that we tell about ourselves? And is it serving you today? Because when there's a story, there's a lot of things happening in the story. Tell the story in a way that's beneficial to you. Highlight the parts that matter most. Highlight the parts that matter most. When people write biographies, they literally can't tell, what the person did every day, what they ate for breakfast. They leave out stuff all the time, depending on who writes it. Depending on, when you think about a biography, think about it like this. Who's writing the biography? Is it an autobiography? Is it a biography? Is it a person who writing the biography who likes the person and they're going to highlight the best, or is it a biography of a person that dislikes that person and they're going to always emphasize the worst and exaggerate the worst? I'm encouraging you to write your biography and tell your story as if you like yourself. Tell your story like you like yourself. That's what I'm saying. You tell your story, you write your mission. Write it like you like yourself. Bring out the best. If it's on your heart to use your story to help others, then, if that makes sense, then do it. If it doesn't, you don't have to. You don't owe anybody your story. Everybody's not built for that. That's not everybody's mission to do that. You don't have to. You don't owe anybody that. That can be between you, your therapist, and your journal. You don't have to disclose anything that's traumatic for you. If you want to, okay, work your way up to doing it, a little bit at a time, but you don't have to. Write your story and tell your story like you like yourself. Sissy says, I think a lot of women shame other women to stop the shame inside of themselves for a brief moment, like drinking or overeating. It does not work for more than a moment. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, there's something about inflicting pain on others that distracts you from your pain. Because you don't have to sit with all of your pain if you inflict it on others. For some people, that is a way of dealing with their own pain, is to inflict it on others because it becomes externalized and then they don't have to feel it. If someone has the wherewithal to stop doing that, they should. Some people don't. Some people, hurting others is a part of their personality. And so they will do it until they die. And so, in that sense, it's very important to learn those personality types so that you can avoid them and know how to deal with them whenever you have no choice but to. Some people are doing it as a coping mechanism and they have the ability to stop doing it. And absolutely, if you can stop doing it, stop doing that. I'm just keeping it real. Well, can you keep it real without hurting others? It's possible to keep it real without inflicting pain on others. I've literally, I've literally dealt with like drug addicted sex workers, and they'll ask me for money, and I'll say no. And they already know. I don't have to explain why. And my no is just it's solid. I can't be convinced, and they know that. They've known that in the past. But I will call them sister, and I will help when I can. I'll give them tangibles, but they know I love them too much to give them money to get high. They know that. I have boundaries. Love and compassion can be administered lovingly with boundaries. I love you enough to give you a bottle of water, but I love you too much to give you cash because you're not going to get high off of money I give you an OD and then I feel bad about it. But I don't have to call you a hoe and a bitch and why the fuck you out on a stroll, you dumbass hoe, you stupid. I don't need to do all that. That's not going to help her get clean. It's not going to encourage her to go to rehab when she has pimps and everybody else talking to her like that. It's not going to help. I'm not a pushover either. My no really is no, and I don't explain why. It's just no, and that's it. I don't go back and forth. I said what I said. I'm very clear about what I'm willing to do, and I'm very clear about what I'm not willing to do. But I don't have to hurt someone in pain any more than what they already are. You see what I'm saying? And I think that the love, the deficit of love that Black women are in need of is vast. And I do believe that it starts with us. We have to love each other. We have to love ourselves and we have to love on each other. We have to. Even when I've given out criticism, which could be considered harsh, I don't cut to the white meat. That's just not my style. I do not cut to the white meat. And I tend to focus on behavior more than the person. I don't have any desire to uh, hurt anybody like that. You know, I just don't. You can have compassion for someone who's engaging in behavior without promoting the behavior. Yes, you can. People making people are very broken, and the truth is, we're all just trying to figure it out, trying to figure it out after mistakes or avoiding them. But the mishaps, mistakes will come. Yes, absolutely. You know, they do. They come like, oh, child. When I tell you the mistakes will come, oh my goodness, they will. Like, I am not immune. I'm still figuring it out my darn self. I am still figuring it out myself and looking and like, man, am I being a good mom? I think I am. I think I'm doing okay. I don't know. And questioning myself on certain things and, you know, doing my best, just doing my best day to day. But, having that inner voice towards yourself, I think that before we can ask women to be compassionate towards other women, I think that we have to encourage them to be compassionate towards themselves. You see what I'm saying? I think that that's going to be probably the first step with some people. Because some women, you'll even look at them and they're engaged in self-harm. You know what I mean? Like they'll be like, sometimes just like not in the best of health. And they're just spewing out all this harsh, harshness. And then if you look at how they're treating themselves very poorly a lot of times. So before you could even ask her, oh, okay, well, can you speak compassionately towards this person? Can you speak compassionately? Can you treat yourself compassionately? Can you put your health first and start treating yourself, with some respect? Treat your body like a temple. Could we start there? Because I'm pretty sure if some of these people get into better health, physical health, their own mental health, what's coming out of their mouth is gonna inevitably change. It has to. You know, those who want to like not face their traumas head on. Oh, I'm over that. I don't want to deal with that. And then it's just like that same trauma, that how they were treated trauma and their during their trauma, that's what comes out when they rage. It rages just like how they got raged on or whatever. So you think like you don't want to deal with that? I'm over that. I'm over it. Look at me. And I've seen this too with a lot of black women. I got a PhD. I got a house. I got a mortgage. I got a luxury car. And they take that success as they take that success as I'm whatever it was that happened to me didn't affect me, or it didn't affect me to the point where I couldn't still achieve in my life. True. Okay, I'll give you that. Clap it up. Yes, you have achieved some things. That's worth celebrating. There's more to explore, though. There's still more to explore. How are you relating to others? How are you relating to others? How are you relating to yourself? Are you in good health, mental and physical health, good spiritual health? What are your coping strategies when things get, difficult? Oh, well, I just bury myself in work and school. Mm, that particular coping strategy could, lead to some issues down the line. Maybe some other thing about the other day, like you don't have to feel like it, even if aren't ready. Because some people think it's lame, or they just think it's weird, or they think it's like um what's the word? Too esoteric or something. Like, I'm not going to hug myself. I'm not going to take myself on a date. I'm not going to say affirmations in a mirror. It's like they think Big Brother is watching them and that Big Brother is going to laugh at them or something, that they won't do these things. Oh, that's lame. I can't see myself doing that. Like, no, start somewhere. And it may seem lame, but it could be a lifesaver. It could be a lifesaver. Seriously. It could literally save your life. Taking stock of the inner dialogue that you use to yourself. Um, when you're trying to implement something new and you're having a difficult time, what do you say yourself? Do you talk to yourself lovingly, like, encouraging, or are you harsh and you just want to give up because you feel ashamed, or that's going to be the starting point to figure out how. And another thing is, have compassion for yourself while you are changing the inner voice. Because for a lot of women, depending on how you were raised or like what kind of environment you come from, your knee jerk reaction is to be negative about something and to be harsh on yourself. And so it may be very laborious at the beginning to be like, it's okay, you can do it. Let's try tomorrow. Um, well, you tried. You know what? You were going for 10, but you got 5. Let's celebrate the 5. We're going to work on the 10 the next week. Or, um, these things can happen. Just having that loving voice towards yourself. It may be real hard if you're not used to it. It might be hard, or maybe it's easy when everything's going good, but when you feel down, it becomes more difficult to have um, that compassionate voice towards yourself. What I would say is, have compassion for yourself while you practice being compassionate. Think about your capacity for compassion as a muscle that you need to grow and expand. So over time, it's going to get stronger and it's going to, get more robust over time. The more you work on it, because right now you have a record playing in your head and it's like a negative record. You're not good enough, you're not smart enough, no one loves you, nobody wants you, you're a fuck up, you're always messing up. It's this negative record that's just playing. And if it gets quiet enough, there's that record. It's just playing in the background with all that negativity and all of those things, and those things that have been put onto you that are not even yours. And so what we're doing is we're playing a different record. We're playing the record of, you are lovable, you are unique, you are enough, you are capable, it's okay. I understand, I see you, I value you, I acknowledge you. You belong here. You can do it. You are smart, you're intelligent, you're beautiful. You're worthy. You are loved. You are radiant. That's the record that we're developing. So when we're compassionate with ourselves, to spin that positive record, and we spin and we default to that compassionate language towards ourselves when there's something that we need to do to implement. There was a post about Black HR admin shaming a woman for not asking for more money, then had the nerve to sell a course about negotiating. I couldn't believe the nastiness. Wow. I saw one, I saw that. I may have even taken a screenshot of it and was going to put it on the community tab. Underpaid her. But then I saw another tweet of a Black woman saying, this young woman didn't ask for enough money, so I pulled her to the side and told her she needs to ask for more. So I guess you can approach approach that you can approach that different ways. I feel like there's more of us looking out for each other than not. We're silently climbing up these ranks. Locked Honey Princess was talking about it the other day with a woman who was working at her facility who was just quietly, doing her thing, and then now they all have this code to like look out for her. And I think that that's happening more than we think, of Black women just quietly and discreetly helping other Black women. We do have those we do have the negative Nancys who, want to, just want to do team too much and just do just what's totally unnecessary. It's just like, ma'am, you don't even need to do all that. We have some of them, but like I feel like, we're doing better. I want us, I want to I want my desire is that, more of the negative elements convert over to being positive, or for the negative elements to be drowned out. Because the thing about compassion and discernment, and the thing about your voice, the reason why some of these women are attracted to their mother, the critical, the over criticizing, the da 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 da, the reason why some of these women feel a kinship with these women is because they were raised like that. You understand what I'm saying? For me, it's repulsive because I've weeded so much of that out of my life. I'm attracted to content creators like, Mocha Mami. You know what I'm saying? That's so positive and diplomatic. Like I aspire to be as diplomatic as she is. I try to be mature, but I do have a petty side of me. Okay. Mocha Mami has a petty side of her. Hold on, y'all. Okay. I can't. I can't. I got to go. Like I can't. Like even if I be trying, I just feel like repulsed by like I just can't stay here too long. Depending on like just a lot, the energy, how it's coming off, where it's coming from, if I feel like it's profound or if I feel like it's surface level, all of that comes into play when I decide like who I'm about to sit up and listen to. You know what I mean? So therefore, I'm saying that to say, when you change your inner dialogue and how you speak to yourself and how you speak to others, that's going to help some of those women who rely on shaming and negativity and dwelling on, and like these ladies are monopolizing the other ladies' time like with their negativity. You know what I'm saying? They're not even thinking about the productivity or the positive aspects of these women's life. They don't care. They'll monopolize their time with negativity. They don't care. It's clicks and views. It's clicks and views. They're not even leaving their audience with any skills or anything they can go off and do something with. It's like it's just entertainment, and they're being entertained off of negativity. Oh, so, and speaking of like, that's why I can't even watch reality TV shows. Like sometimes I kind of want to know what's going on. So maybe, just to be abreast to it. But it was just so much negativity. Like I haven't watched Housewives in about 5 seasons. Seriously. Black women tearing each other down and backbiting. And for me, it's just gross, and it just like the more mm-mm. I just don't like it. And then to see the producers like Andy keying and profiting off of these women tearing each other down. I just can't get with it. So I have not watched Married to Medicine. I have not watched The Housewives in many, many, many seasons for the simple fact that I don't like that. I don't like seeing black women at their worst when we don't have to be. I don't like it. And so I've just disengaged from a lot of that. And it's like, well, if I'm going to disengage from, black women tearing each other down on reality TV, I don't want to go to YouTube and black women tearing each other down on YouTube. I don't want to do that either. Especially when you're harsh towards a collective of women. And it's like, you're supposed to be the expert on black girl pain. Some of these women are supposed to be the expert on black girl pain. You're supposed to know it better than the average Jane. You should have a deep understanding of black girl pain, at more than the average Jane on the street. And still, with all the expertise and all the knowledge and all the you still, your place is not a refuge for these women. Your space is not a refuge for these women. Well, I got tough love. I don't know if there's any love or if it's just tough. I don't know. That's I'd have to question that. Is it really love? Is it tough love, or is it just tough, tough? I had so many subscribers, when I was finally, started talking a little bit more about single motherhood and, being harsh. It's like these women came out of the woodworks. I didn't want to say anything, but yeah, girl, it is hard. I don't feel isolated. I feel alienated. Yeah, because women go into hiding for fear of being called a baby mama and ridiculed or whatever. So we just keep to ourselves. Like, God forbid we walk into the wrong space and be like, yeah, I'm raising a child alone. And it's like they will gang up on you like a pack of hyenas and call you baby mama with a dusty baby. Well, damn. This is the thing about the whole dusty baby thing and bastard children. This is what these women love to call our children, bastards. This is the thing. You, if you are a product of a single mother, you too are a bastard. Now, when it comes to having a high self-esteem, do you think that you're going to be able to have a high self-esteem? The things that I just played, the things that I just stated when I was talking about the positive record, flash back to me just saying that. Do you think that you're going to be able to play that positive record if you think you're a bastard? Because, oh, child, you can't call somebody else's child a bastard and they come from the same situation that you come from. Oh, what, you're redeemed because you're on the right YouTube channel, so now you're not a bastard? Like, girl, it don't work like that. The logic has to go all the way through. And even if you want to be disingenuous with what you say, the subconscious always keeps the score. So if you're constantly calling other people bastards, every single time you call that child a bastard, you're calling yourself a bastard. And when you call yourself a bastard, you lower your own self-esteem, you lower your own self-worth, you lower your own self-value. And that's why you go out here acting like a pick-me-sha. You've changed the color of the male worshiping, but you're still worshiping, you're still doing the most for the least. And a lot of that has to do because of your self-esteem. And your self-esteem has to do with the way you speak, the way you act, the way you see things, the way you're filtering in through the information. You have to completely clean all of that up. Because while you're pointing that finger, there's those fingers pointing back at you. I would advocate that you belong here and you're not a bastard. You're not. Hi, welcome, Daisy Dukes. Yeah, thank you for speaking up. I have a lot of single mothers on my channel. They don't say anything. Sometimes they DM me or whatever, but They don't say anything, because they don't want to be attacked. But you're for it to come. I don't need to, I feel good. Honestly, I feel good on my own. I feel good as I am. I don't have to put another woman down to make myself feel better. I feel good, honestly. I feel complete and I feel good. I don't have to, put myself on a stepping stool above or a hierarchy and all of this, and I don't need to do that. Yeah, and I think that that's a good way to live, where you don't have to put other women down to feel good about yourself. We have more in common than not, and you know, with our collective goals, which maybe that needs to be solidified a little bit more. Maybe we should spend some time giving this thing some structure. Like, what are we trying to do exactly? And that might help um, direct some conversations. What are we trying to do? Black women empowerment, empower with what? Exactly. Because sometimes people have competitions on like who's most divested. Like, okay, girl, all right. I don't know that that's the most productive goal. You say empowerment, we need to figure out empower with what exactly. What exactly are you trying to empower with what? Because you need to find some type of commonalities. You need to find some commonalities so that we can know what we're collectively working on. Because it's always going to be subsects of subsects of subsects. That's human nature. It's going to happen. We have age differences, we have regional differences, we have cultural differences, all of that. But there has to be a handful of things that we're all working on, at least a handful of things that we're all striving towards. Ideas about how we can maybe come up with just a handful of goals of this space so that we can try to keep our eye on the prize. Okay? We need to keep our eye on the prize. We need to have something to push forward. We need to have something measurable. Something measurable. Not our own personal YouTube channel growth or other I'm in other social media spaces too, and I love what I'm seeing. And I love what I'm seeing from Gen Z. I continue to be impressed by you young ladies. You guys, you ladies really, really do. Um, you guys make me proud. You really, really do. I'm really, really proud of you ladies. Um, so yeah, I like following some of the Gen Z content creators and other spaces and see what they're talking about. Um, yeah. So anywho, I'm going to sign off now. This conversation took a lot of twists and turns, but overall, I just want Black women to love themselves, to love each other. That's the overall message. All right, beautiful people. Y'all have a good one, and we'll talk soon. Please like, share, and subscribe.